So Restore Britain's national security spokesman Henry Bolton was on GB News yesterday, laying out just how insane the state of modern Britain, and more broadly Europe, is, in regards to how many extremists we have just wandering about, and just the basics on what we should be doing with these people. Also at the end we're going to watch a dire warning from Douglas Murray about where all this is going. But anyway, obviously Rupert Lowe has spoken extensively about Islam before, and the threat it poses to our country. And Restore is the only party, aside from a few politicians at Reform, who are frank and honest about the problems facing Britain because of this threat.
I have nothing against Muslims. I think Islam is arguably a cult rather than a religion. It's the most warlike religion. I mean, it's very sexist in terms of the way it treats women. It's almost the polar opposite to everything that our liberal democracy stands for. And yet we are allowing a large number of illegal migrants, mainly young fighting age men, to come into our country and then being settled across various peace-loving communities, and they're doing a lot of damage.
Yep, everyone watching this video knows it's true. The vast majority of Britons know it's true. And frankly, the political class know it's true as well. But outside of a few politicians at Reform and Restore Britain, the rest are simply too spineless and dogmatic to admit it. You know, multiculturalism and diversity is basically a religion to Labour, the Greens, the Lib Dems, most of the Tories, and our liberal media. When someone dies, they view it as an event that's a necessary sacrifice in their quest to bring in their new world order. The very sick and selfish people. I mean, just look at this.
Well, talking about that attack, one of your colleagues, Labour MP Kate Osborne, has seemingly used this attack to conflate, it seems, or point fingers at not only Reform UK, but including here, GB News. I think that those comments are utterly disgusting. I think making a political statement out of that attack like that is beyond despicable. Will you condemn making such comments by politicians here in this country, and indeed rather focus on the threat at hand?
So I haven't seen the comments that you're referring to. It's obviously a totally horrific attack. We should all be united against it, but I haven't seen the comments you're referring to.
Well, I'll just press you on that, Mr. Faulkner, because it has been very prolific over the last 24 hours. I guess maybe if you haven't seen the comments, let me just ask you this. Do you think it's appropriate for politicians to use an Islamist terrorist attack to blame other parts of Britain, or at least conflate the elements of the press and other political parties and perhaps point fingers at them for this?
Look, this is an attack in Germany. As I say, I haven't seen the comments, but it doesn't seem to me that it has anything to do with the press in Britain. So I haven't seen the comments, but that doesn't sound right to me.
The Labour Party are genuinely mentally ill, and these are the people we have running the country. It's absolutely insane. You know, when I scroll through my Twitter feed on a daily basis, I just don't even want to look sometimes, as I know it's just going to be atrocity after atrocity. Like yesterday, we woke up to the attack in Berlin. Then that afternoon, we had another Islamist stab 3 women in France. I mean, it's just a never-ending onslaught of carnage done to the European people by radicals who never even needed to be here in the first place. This is why we desperately need a Restore Britain government, or at least a Reform government until Restore is ready to win a general election. I'm at the point now of just tactical voting, anything to stop Labour or the Tories getting in again. We just cannot continue like this.
In mind that he's got free movement across the European Union, and who knows, he could end up arriving in Dover. The Germans have got a long problem associated with sort of second and third generation Islamisation and radicalism. This is just another example.
Yeah, but so do we. The Manchester arena bombings were done by first or second generation immigrants. I don't think this is a problem that's unique to Germany. I think it's a problem that's unique to Islam.
A lot of the people talk about the European Convention on Human Rights as being an obstacle to removing people, but it's interesting, Denmark, and I, by the way, I advocate leaving the European Union, the European Convention on Human Rights, because it removes a great many obstacles to doing the things we need to do to secure the British people.
But it's not a cure-all. I mean, to be honest, it's not the cure-all.
No, but it removes a number of obstacles to doing what we do need to do. But in this particular case, if we look at Denmark, Denmark has deported a number of people who have come from the same part of the world, Sudan, Somalia and so on, who were born in Denmark, have Danish citizenship, but also citizenship of the countries that they've got a parent or parentage associated with. Even though they were born in Denmark, they have not accepted Danish rule of law. They've not integrated with the Danish way of life. They're not contributing to the Danish economy. They're drawing on it. And so they've been removed. They've been sent back. Now, that's because Danish law allows for it by defining that really being Danish or the integration and so on is defined under law. Here it's not. Germany it's not. Once you've got a passport, you're there. Or you're here. And so there are a number of loopholes that are exploited by these people to prevent themselves being removed. In this particular case, as you quite rightly say, this individual was on the radar. He was known to be, I mean, he would be, in the UK, he would be very high up on the prevent programme.
Well, he was, just reading the breaking news here, he had been ordered to take part in a de-radicalisation programme.
Which is their equivalent.
Yeah, how many times have we heard that? Oh yeah, he was known to the police. Well, people need to start losing their jobs and facing prison time then, don't they? It's reckless endangerment to allow these lunatics to just wander about when everyone knows they're a serious danger to the public. And this is what drives me mental. The solution is so simple. Just round them all up and deport them. The fact that they don't leads me to believe the authorities allow this stuff to happen because they want to ignite a reaction from the public so that they can crack down on us with new laws. That's the only logical conclusion one can come to when you look at this pattern.
So, yes.
But what we should be doing, we, the Germans, everybody in Europe should be doing, is such people, we should be removing them, or we should be detaining them until, well, for good and always, if we can't get rid of them, because they are clearly a danger to the public. Now, we don't know where this individual's going. We don't know whether he's been working alone or not, whether there are other people involved. There may or may not be, but presumably along the way he's been radicalised. He may be self-radicalised, but somehow there's a network of influence there. The Germans will be trying to track that down, whether or not there's a sort of broader network. But of course, every day that goes past, and the more and more people get radicalised, and the more and more people enter our countries illegally, then that threat only grows.
Well, yeah, like people keep saying, deportations is the peaceful option. Just listen to Douglas Murray here. We're getting closer by the day to this becoming a reality.
Now, is it time to send in the army at some point? Probably yes. But if the army will not be sent in, then the public will have to go in, and the public will have to sort this out themselves. And it'll be very, very brutal. I don't want them to live here. I don't want them here. They came under false pretenses. Many of them came illegally and continue to come illegally, and we don't want them here. And I'm perfectly willing to say that because it needs to be said. If I hated Australia, hated the Australian people, hated Australian history, hated the Australian way of life, broke into the country illegally and spent my time trying to undermine Australia, why should I be in Australia? Why? What would I have brought the country? What benefit? What moral benefit? What financial benefit? What social benefit? The answer is, you'd have brought no benefit. So why just hope that those people are not in large enough numbers and keep your fingers crossed and put it off for another day? I think we have to start saying very clearly, if you don't like it here, go. And if you don't like it here and you intend to make it worse, we will make you go.